All right, first things first, let's see if we can get the 950 going. So turn on the key. I'm going to hit my button down here for the heater in the air intake, which we've talked about on the A4T. This one has it. And I'll have to get it hooked up at some point, but just warms that air up. So let it warm up here for a second. That element, get some heat in there. This thing's not probably going to want to start real easy. It's been sitting for, I don't know, last time I started was a little while back. So, all right, a little bit of fuel. Better open the door. I wasn't sure if she was going to start or not. I mean, I figured, I didn't know where the battery was at, I should say. But the 955's running. Let her run here for a little bit. And before we go to all the trouble pulling that out, I'm going to start the 955, make sure it starts. Just turn on the gas. Propane, prime it, look around, make sure everything looks all right. Oh, this thing is not as easy to get on as the 955. Neutral, a little bit of propane. Uh-oh. There she goes. Thank goodness. Didn't want to go at first because I still got to step on those wires down there to duplicate the safety switch. I need to fix that. Maybe I'll do that while it's over home. I know right now that the youngest MM fan in Ohio, probably when he watches this video, is going to be pretty happy to see the 950, the 955 running, although I'm sure he wishes he was here so he could drive them. Sorry, Nicole, I know you're going to have to watch this 300 times. GoPro gets to watch my videos over and over because it turns out little Joey, that's what he likes to do during the day, is watch videos. Good oil pressure, everything looks good. Such a good driving tractor and running tractor. Let this one run for a little bit, let it get nice and warm, and charge the battery a little. All right, 950's turn. One of the things I also have to do on this is I still got to get underneath here and fix the steering. Still just not 100% the way I want it to be. And I know it's down in that valving. And we're outside. First time in 2025. So I had to have the 950 outside. It'd be good to get this work done on this thing. Get my leaks settled down on it. And of course, man, she runs nice. All right, I got to go in and clean up. These things like to dribble on the floor. I need to clean that up a little bit before I start swapping tractors around. Time to drive her home. A lot of hydraulic fluid. I was just looking at the pan. I mean, there's probably a gallon that has leaked out of this. Hopefully I can get all that fixed. The steering on this isn't horrible. It's not the way it should be. It catches and it wanders a lot when you're going down the road. And that bothers me a little. Traffic. It used to be I could do this and nobody would come anymore. I'm not generally so lucky. Sitting. We're gonna hop around a little bit. Tires are like, yeah, you can't leave it sit for months in one spot. Good to get back on the seat of a tractor, especially after last weekend going and looking at all those tractors in Indiana. Yeah, there the steering's catching a little bit, so. All right. I gotta go move the truck, get the jet out, and then get the 302 out. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, move the jet out. She, of course, starts right away because the jet is one trusty tractor. And, of course, this is too. They all start pretty good. Especially after I had this one running already. Battery tender. It was just dragging and just unhooked, plugged itself. Hate it when I do that. Like, what's that noise? Yeah, battery tender. Not smart. I thought to myself earlier, I should unhook the battery tender. This big dog in. You know what? Hang on, I gotta get ready for it. All right, I just had to move my cardboard and stuff around in there that I used to pick up or catch the drips, because I'm going to pull this in, and it was behind the 302, so in here. And don't hit anything. That's the key. Don't hit anything. Don't smack the bubble nose into anything. Just a few small rules. You have to kind of crab walk it over. Yeah, I'm gonna put you up here so I can use both hands. I think that'll work. Hopefully it does. Alright, trying to bring the jet back in. Alright, they fit in there nicely. I'll put the battery tender on the 950 to keep that battery good while it's in here. And it's a little bit tight on this side. I'm going to pick up some stuff off the floor, but this isn't going to be here very long. So, alright, let's take the 302 next door and put things away and come back and see what's next. Well, I forgot to hit play out on the road, but anyway, nothing like the smell of burning propane if you're got the wind in your face, because there's some wind today. This thing runs so smooth. Towels over to clean up. 955's running still. I wanted it to get nice and warm. Might throttle it up just a little. Looking good. All right, get this stuff put away. All right, got everything tucked back in. 302 propane back behind the 955, and got stuff set underneath it, so hopefully it doesn't leak on the floor. Hope that we're done with the power steering leaking. Tried the UB it gave one and it was done. I did not try the 7302 gas, but the jet is dead, and I was having trouble with it last year. I had a really bad feeling that this spring I'm going to have to buy quite a few batteries, which is, after buying those 31Ts yesterday, that's a lot of money. But what are you going to do? You got to make this stuff run. So, all right, I rode the little red dirt bike over. I'm going to ride it back, and I don't know what else I'm going to get into today. I'm going to do a little research on what fluids I need to drain on the 950 in order to do what we need to do, so that I'm prepped, that when Joe shows up, we can just go right to work next weekend. All right, it's Sunday. Back out to, I'm going to prep hopefully the 950 for what Joe and I are going to do next weekend with the 3-speed, but also look at my hydraulic leaks. And came out, and it's definitely wet under there, so it's been dripping. So I thought, okay, cool. I'll look and try to confirm where it's coming from. So I definitely know that right in there where I'm shining the flashlight, tell that's wet. But what also is wet is above it. So I don't know if you can see there's drips, and I go up even higher, there's drips. So what I'm going to need to do is I need to take off this plate, and so I can see in there and see what exactly is where I'm leaking, and it's making it all the way down, because it's definitely a problem, and I'm tired of it being a problem. Drips are no fun. So, and it's chilly today, so I'm going to fire up the heat, but I figured I'd talk you through what I'm going to work on before I turn the heat on. It made it hard to hear me, but I will bring you back in a little bit and show you what I find. Well, I got that off, and it appears by the amount of wet fluid that my problem is up higher and down lower. I mean, I'll put new seals in down there, I have them, but it looks like I'm gonna have to pull all this apart, put new, I guess there's O-rings or something under those. And I have to look at the parts book, but definitely got fluid sitting on top. So a little more involved than what I thought, but still not the end of the world. I mean, it's not going to be too hard to fix this. Just I've never done it before, so I got to figure all that out. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to have to, like I said, do some reading. That's always the solution, right? Get in the parts book, see what parts I need, get them ordered this week, and go from there. And just looking at this, I think my problem is going to be the seal where these go up and down, right? Because if I push it all the way forward, if you listen, you can hear fluid. So I think that's, and then it gets wet, and I kind of cleaned her, and I think that's the problem, is it's leaking. That's my problem. So in order to get those off, it looks like I got to pull all these pins, disassemble this whole thing, take out the screws, slide those off. So looks like that's what I'm going to have to do up here. Alright, so after consulting the parts book, there is not supposed to be a seal in there. I got to clean all that dirt out of there. All the seals are down inside. I talked to Wendell, he said sometimes these are loose, so 1 1/8. I put a wrench on there, and I got about a half a turn out of both of those. And there's 2 right here on the bottom, same thing. He said sometimes those will loosen up a little bit. Tighten those down, cleaned up, and try to dry everything up really well. So what we're going to do is we're going to start it and work this up just a minute to see if anything leaks. I had it running a minute ago, so I knew it was in neutral. I knew everything was okay. Just want to confirm that. So, did I forget to turn on the propane? I'm gonna guess I did. Smart. fuel helps. Come on. Oops. Okay, so with that in place, I'm going to run the 3-point up and down a couple times. And I'm going to get a punch in order to do this. That squishing noise a little bit, that must be inside. Oh, it takes a lot of bunch to get those to pop up and down. Anyway, I don't think I need to do both. That one is probably enough. So right now, seen anything leaking. So it could have been as simple as these just need to tighten up on both sides. Definitely not leaking around in either one of those. So, and I'm getting right here underneath these, I'm getting fluid dripping down. So I know those are bad. So I got to definitely pull that plate off and do those. But that's what I've got right now. Shut this thing off so I don't asphyxiate myself. Turn off the gas. Another thing that was nice this morning is I came out here and there was no fluid on the floor from the back forward. That's a win because I have battled that too. Definitely. So I am not seeing any drips. I'm not seeing any issues. So I'll put these back together up here with the levers on it. And next thing is I'll pull that plate off and do that. But I need to also drain the 3-speed torque area. When I talked to Wendell, I said how much I need to drain, and he said drain, you got to go down as low as where your check plug is, but the thing is, this thing goes almost down to the bottom. So I will I'm just gonna drain the whole thing and put new fluid in. Got to get the battery out of there. I'll probably take off this part of the platform and make it easier for us to get in there and work without this in the way. I'm not going to take that off, but I can get the step out of the way. So I'll do that here in a little bit. All right, so it's the end of the day. I went through and did a bunch of stuff. I put those back together. I came around here and I drained the fluid out of the 3-speed chamber. Here's the plug. There was some metal debris stuck to the magnet and some dropped into the bottom of the bucket. So don't know what that was. Then I came around to the other side over here and took off the step, which I will clean up and probably put some Federal yellow on it just to make it look better. But so the step's off. Now we can get to all the bolts on the plate. I was going to take that plate off, and then I remember somebody telling me that thing weighs much more than it looks like, and with my recent injuries, I think I'm going to hold off doing that till I have somebody else here. And then you can see my bucket's on standby, almost full bucket. Decided I was going to start messing with the control box, so I popped off the cover and talked to a couple people who thought, Well, one thought all that would be in there is what was, the fluid that's in it, and then nothing else would drain, and somebody else said, you probably ought to drain it. I thought through my logical thinking, nah, there's probably only a little bit in there. That's full. There's still some dripping in there. And if you can see in there someplace, it looks like it's finally slowing down, but it's coming in from, walk around here, that top tube that goes in. If I can get a finger in there, right there, and that comes down, comes under the platform, and I don't know where it feeds from, but I'm guessing the tank, because there's no way that little box held, I don't know, there's probably a gallon or more in there. There's probably 4 gallons in the bucket over there, and we probably got another gallon going in here. Also, I will say that the 3-speed chamber, when I drained it, luckily I talked to Joe Pro, who said it holds more than what you think. So I had 2 buckets ready, 2 5-gallon buckets, filled those completely full, and then that 2.5-gallon bucket is pretty much, I think it's just dripping into it now, but there's probably at least 2 gallons in that. So at least 12 gallons in there. So that's where I'm at. I'm just gonna let this drain out, and then this week, during the week, oh, don't do that, almost caught my leg on that there hook, which wouldn't have been good, because then you would have probably heard some YouTube inappropriate comments. But anyway, what I can do this week is I'll clean the gasket off of here, I'll get it in their box, clean it off on there, I'll punch out these seals, put the new seals in, get everything back together, and put all that back in. And the worst thing is now I got to come back out here and check this thing in a little bit and make sure that bucket's not almost full. And the other problem is I generally have a bunch of empty 5-gallon buckets sitting around the side of the barn to dump used fluid in. And I cleaned that up a while back, and I'm running a little short. I think everything's full right now. That's why I'm using buckets without tops on them. So anyway, that's where things are today. So got a lot done on the A4T this weekend. Basically, I talked to Oliver Phil this morning. He's getting stuff done on his end that will help me finish this, but I told him that I'd give him a little reprieve because I might move the 950 over, and Joe Pro is available only next weekend. I think he's busy for a bunch of weekends in a row, so next weekend, you and us, will tear into that and look to put the low in the 3-speed, and I'll update you on how much more fluid comes out of the. It was a gamble, but I was prepped with buckets, so I can make it work. But anyway, thanks for everybody watching. Please like and subscribe. If you've got any comments, love to hear them. Looking forward to getting this thing a little bit closer to done, and I want to get that closer to done because I'm sure Nick Ohio MM's ready to come drive it, and I'm sure Joey Pro is going to drive his mom nuts since he didn't get to ride on the 950. So hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you next weekend.